Unfortunately, I have been in a position where I've actually faced 3 layoffs in my career. I have several years of experience working in engineering. Actually made the shift from marketing. So this is a second career for me. I've taken the time to actually embrace it, understand what position you're in, give yourself a couple days to get a clear head, and then you start planning from there. Then that confidence is humility. Understanding and admitting when you don't know something. I think that'll take you far in interview processes.
Hi everyone, this is Lulu. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will interview Terrence, the software engineer at Iterable. We met each other during the company on-site. We went to a baseball game together and walked back to the hotel together. It was a 25 minutes walk. He shared his experience while we walked back to the hotel. The stories are so attractive that make me feel the 25 minutes is like 5 seconds. He is the first person went to the college in his family. He went to the college at the age of 16. He was laid off right after his promotion. He switched his career from marketing to software engineer. And the most impressive, he is so positive with his work and life, even during the uncertainty. Now, let's hear his story. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have Terrence, who's the software engineer at Iterable. Hi, Terrence.
Hey,
Welcome. How are you doing today?
doing well, doing well.
Yes. So for those people who don't know you, would you mind give us a short introduction?
Sure thing. My name is Terrence. I am an engineer on the content team. I have several years of experience working in engineering. Actually made the shift from marketing. So this is a second career for me. I've been here at Iterable for just over a year now. I actually celebrated my year anniversary back in September. So I'm extremely excited about, being here and continuing to build.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so for people who doesn't really have the background, so I met Terrence during our company offsite, and his experience is super attractive, at least for me, right? So he did have experience handle some unexpected career changes. Terrence mentioned me before about the company-wide laid off with your with his previous companies. I know it's challenges for you for sure, Terrence, and pretty much I think it's also challenging for your family. How do you overcome it and maintain a good mental health?
Oh yeah, for sure. So unfortunately, I have been in a position where I've actually faced 3 layoffs in my career. Each time having a different severity of impact. I think that going through those types of situations have definitely just impacted the way that I approach life. One of the most I guess impactful moments was what led me to getting into development. Prior to working as a software engineer, as I mentioned before, I worked in marketing, and I had joined a company that had a company-wide layoff. Around 40 of us all got laid off around Christmas time. And at that moment, for me, it was extremely tough because I had a newborn child at the time, just moved into a new city here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And at that time, I took a step back and said, all right, I can either sit here and soak in my sadness or pick myself up and keep it moving. And fortunately, I picked myself up. I thought back to the experience I had working at a startup company in DC, where I sat with devs because essentially I was in a more creative role, and they say, oh, well, you don't necessarily fit with us, so we're going to sit you with those guys. And they will always tell me, T, man, you should pick up software engineering or pick up UI UX design. You already got the chops for design, so you might as well add some more skills to your bag. So that kind of always stuck with me. And after being laid off, I looked at it as a perfect opportunity to make a pivot. So I decided to use all the money that I had saved up and had a very tough conversation with my partner at the time and just said, hey, trust me on this one. I'm going to go into a coding boot camp and learn how to code. And fortunately, I went into a program called Tech Talent South that was here in Charlotte, or is here in Charlotte, and went through a 12-week program that truly helped change my life. So it Yeah, going through that program, I would say the thing about coding boot camps, it doesn't necessarily teach you everything about code, but what I tell everyone is that it helps to remove that fear of programming from you. So it let me see that it was an option and it was a career path that was attainable. So yeah, that's how I kind of got to where I am now.
Wow, that's really impressive. Like I never been through like laid off before, but I can feel the this kind of fearness.
Oh
You
yeah,
that
it
scare me.
is.
Like it's already scared me when I heard the word like laid off. You
Oh
know,
yeah, it's definitely a fear.
yeah, and it
um,
yeah, and
Like I said, just
especially
imagine seeing it 3 times,
yeah,
experiencing that,
yeah,
because you don't know what's gonna happen next or what your next move should be. But I think that it's important when approaching those types of situations, especially I think is extremely relevant in this time now. Where economy isn't doing so great, and we are seeing different companies lay off people. If I could provide any advice, it would be like take a second to get your bearings straight. Don't just go straight into the job market the day of getting laid off because all of that fear, that anxiety is swelling up. Take the time to actually embrace it. Understand what position you're in. Give yourself a couple of days to get a clear head, and then you start planning from there. And I think that's what kind of helped me.
well, that's really helpful. I just picture myself if I was in your like a position, I was just like totally getting scared, and I probably gonna like apply like 1,000 jobs like
Right.
in a day and trying to actually like to get another job to keep my job security, right? Like
For sure.
like to continue my life. But like I really like your advice that saying that okay, is to take a break and to know what you want truly wants to do next, right?
Right, because
And
it's an impulsive decision. You're you've been laid off unexpectedly, and your first instinct is, all right, I need another job. Because some people, quite frankly, they don't have the funds saved up, where they don't have that extra stream of income where they can be comfortable. So, like naturally, your impulsive decision is, all right, I need to secure myself, secure my family, and I need to find another job. But if you're just rushing in and jumping into the job market straight away, it could be a case where you're going to accept the first job that's offered to you, and it's not necessarily the best thing for you long term. Like I'm truly an advocate of making sure that whatever job, whatever company you join is the best fit for you, not just on a professional level, but a mental level as well. So you got to consider all of those types of things.
yeah, okay, I have another question. So you used to be a really good marketing person, and right after the lead off, you decided to do a pause and invest on yourself, spending times, monies, to invest yourself on another career path. So why do you want to make those switch to be a software engineer? Like who convinced you to do that?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, it was just conversations that I've had with past coworkers, and also knowing that I've always had an interest in solving complex problems. I've always loved puzzles, loved video games, loved being a thinker, and I found that going into a career in software engineering was honestly the first time I really felt comfortable, not just with the work that I was doing, but just comfortable with myself. You spend so much time at work. You're probably putting 70% of your time per week into the workplace. So I felt that going into a career in software engineering, it brought me happiness, peace, and just kind of a fulfillment that I hadn't felt before. I think that for me, going to college, I was the first person in my family to go to college. First person to graduate college, and I didn't have a lot of people where I'm from that could kind of advise me on, all right, what's a good career path to go towards. So for me, everyone understands business. You know that there's businesses around you. It's a market where you buy and sell. So for me, I just said, you know what, I want to be in business. I'm going to be in marketing. I want to have a corner office and work for the top advertising agencies in the world. And then, that was a dream of mine until I actually started working for those agencies and figuring out the work that I was doing wasn't aligned with what I had dreamed. So while I had fun with some of the work that I was doing, creating ideas, coming up with great designs and brand strategies, and helping businesses grow. It wasn't something that I felt was truly my passion. And fortunately for me, I found that in software engineering.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
So yeah, people always say that upgrade is easy, right? But downgrade is more challenging.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And is there any difficulties while you're switching from the marketing manager role,
Oh yeah.
role to a junior role?
I'll say like going from what people always will say when it comes to software engineering is that first job is the hardest to get. And I found that like even though I have more experience now, I give advice to the more junior engineers who are trying to get their feet through the door. So like, look, it's gonna be hard, but you have to find ways to separate yourself. Fortunately for me, being like a second career software engineer, I could kind of lean in on like my creative work that I've done. So I had a graphic design portfolio, and I could translate that over to web development, where I could create really, really awesome and nice looking web experiences to make my portfolio stand out, or add different design touches to my resume to just make it stick out. And I got a lot of compliments on that, as well as stepping out and going to meetups. That was really huge for me, going to JavaScript meetups, joining React groups, listening to conversations, shaking hands, meeting everyone that I can, just letting them know like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And eventually those doors sort of opened up for me, just by putting myself out there, shaking hands, and building those relationships and connections. So it was extremely difficult to get that first step in, and even considering salary wise, I probably took a close to $30,000-$40,000 decrease in salary just to get that first job. But I knew that getting my foot in the door was most important. I wanted to get that experience, and I know that working in software engineering, it is a field where you can make a substantial amount of money. So I know that the money will come down the line, but for what was most important, it was just getting that experience, that initial experience.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. So like I have a lot of like software engineering friends, but most of them are actually getting the CS backgrounds, like educationally. And you were mentioned that you jumped from marketing to software engineers by joining one boot camp. For those people who also wants to change in their career to software engineers, except those boot camp, do you have any other good recommendations to them? How can they get there?
Man, we live in a time where information is right at your fingertips. I think that the best teachers are available through YouTube. You can find so many free resources. I don't think that a boot camp is necessarily the right option for everyone. It worked for me, but what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for the next person. I felt that I needed to go to a boot camp because essentially it allowed me to put my money where my mouth is. I knew that unless I made a financial commitment and was truly gonna, put some skin in the game, there wasn't gonna be any way that I would just switch my career. So I had to make the stakes a little bit higher in order to make that change. But for someone who's looking to get started into a career in software engineering, there's a ton of resources. You can use Free Code Camp. You can go on YouTube. You can follow people on Twitter, and these are all things that I still do, because I continue to learn, and I kind of adapt this mindset of being a junior developer for life, because that allows me to continue to learn, continue to build on the things that I know that are out there, and just be open to change, because technology is ever changing.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good advice. Keep learning. Like,
Sure.
don't satisfy with what you currently have or currently at. I really like that. So you were mentioned that how hard for you to get your first interview or get into the door to be a software engineers.
Mhm.
Do you have any recommendations for them to write good resumes and do well in their interviews?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. There's there's a ton of information out there, but I'll give some of the things that work for me. Honestly, confidence will take you a long way, but more important than that confidence is humility. understanding and admitting when you don't know something. I think that'll take you far, far in interview processes. For example, there was times when I was interviewing and a question would be asked to me, and I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, I have no idea what they're talking about, especially when it comes to like deeper computer science related questions and topics, because I didn't have exposure to those types of things. But what I had to do is kind of humble myself and say, it's okay if I don't know it. I adapt to that mindset of, all right, if I don't know it, I know how to go find the information or ask the questions to find the answers. So just be humble enough to know that you don't know it all, and be willing to ask questions, be willing to get out there and just meet people who can help further your career.
Awesome. So always when I ask like the people's last question, it gonna always be the like career advice. But this time I want to change to something quite differently, because I know you have a really lovely daughter, like around like 10 years old, right?
Oh no, she's seven.
Okay, almost 10. So so suppose you want to give one career advice to her or some of the kids around her age, what will it be?
Oh my goodness. See, that's a difficult question when it comes to my daughter, because she's so bright, and I just love that little girl so much. And we always talk about like what she's gonna be when she grows up, and like I know that like she's super creative and will draw on anything and cut up cardboard boxes to make things. And I feel like she has an engineering spirit. But the advice that I give to her is you find the things that make your heart happy and you follow that. And you keep pushing for those situations that make you uncomfortable, because that's when you know that you're really and truly growing. So like with my daughter, even though she's 7, she's starting to understand that, and it's up to me as her parent to continue to put her in those types of situations to learn, explore, and experience new things. So yeah, find the things that make your heart happy and continue to push where uncomfortable, because that's where you know that you're truly growing and doing what you're meant to do. Ultimately in life, you want to find your purpose. So that's the couple gems I dropped.
I truly love that. Like, not only because of your smiles, I can see that you love your like daughter a lot, but also because that a lot of parents for sure love their kids, but a lot of time they want to them to pursue some like dream jobs, be a doctor, be a lawyer, because they have those kind of wishes. So they push their kids really hard. But I can see that you just truly put your daughter's like happiness in a first place as a high priority, right? And I can see that your eyes shining while you're talking about her career. So I really appreciate for your sharing.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Terrence, for staying with me today.
No problem. You're welcome anytime.